Okay, here we are, and we're going to be looking at two different ways to save yourself a lot of time. If you're like me and you're a little bit lazy, um, you want to try and save yourself as much time as possible. Now, personally, I like to shoot pictures in camera raw because it gives me the most flexibility. But of course, this also means that you have to do a lot of the processing yourself. So, how to automate it? Well, if you have a bunch of pictures that are shot at a similar place, at a similar time, you can use Adobe Bridge, and in particular their Camera Raw editor to really simplify how you want things to look, and then you only have to tweak a couple of things for individual pictures. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these three images of this dog that I shot at a splash pad, and I'm going to go up to Camera Raw, and I'm going to open this up. So if you get a shot and you think, okay, I'm going to make it, okay, cloudy, we're going to, let's just bump up the exposure a little bit, maybe the contrast just a tad. We'll drop the highlights down fairly significantly. Maybe the shadows, we'll just bump them up just a second, just a little bit, just to open them up a little bit. White, so we'll really open them up. Okay, and we'll make a little bit darker there. Yeah, something about there. And then we'll bump up the clarity and the vibrance. Okay, so let's say that you're happy with that. Okay, the easiest way is to click this up here which says select all, okay, and then click this button that says synchronize. Now you get up this little thing that says synchronize what? You get to choose what you want to synchronize. Now I could have made a whole bunch of different adjustments to the curves and the sharpening and the lens profile and added a vignette and all sorts of other things like that. So you can do all of those things. You can add the vignette, you can add grain, you can, okay, in this case I didn't touch most of these things, okay, I only did the things basically here in the top, okay, the initial screen that you saw. So that allows me to basically say I want all of them. Now I could undo all these, but since nothing changed, I'm just going to say OK. Now you notice that these other two here have now changed. So if I go over here and I click off the preview button, that's the way it was before, and there's the update. Okay, so as you look at that, you think, oh, that's pretty good, and this one has also been applied. Okay, that's awesome. So that allows you to save certain things, and then as you can see, it updates again in Adobe Bridge, and you can see that this thing has been adjusted in the little icon there. Now the other way to save yourself a lot of time, so let's say that you've got a bunch of pictures that you want to make, you want to change them in some way, and you got, you know, say 20 pictures. I'm going to just do 3 just for the sake of time here, but you've got a bunch of pictures and you want to change them. Well, the easiest way to do that and to save yourself a lot of time is to use the Actions panel. Now, if you don't have Actions up, you can go to Window, Actions. Initially, it was grouped with the history. I dragged it down here on its own so that you could see it a little bit better. Now, when you open up Actions, you've got 2 choices. You can create a new set, okay, which is this folder, or create new action. Okay, so if you don't create a new set, it gets saved in the default Actions folder. And of course, you might not necessarily want your action to be done there. So basically what an action is, it is recording everything that you do from when you say start to when you say stop. And it's kind of like doing a screen recording in a way, but basically all of the things that you do get recorded, and then you can then on a new picture, play that back and have it apply. So I'm going to do a few things here. I'm going to turn this into kind of a painting with an outline, okay, using glowing edges to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by, I've got my actions. I'm going to create a new action. So I'm going to call this painting with glow edge outline. I'm going to put it into my actions. Okay, you can just simply have it apply it with a function key or give it a color. I'm just, for the moment, just going to have it record, okay, so you can see it. So click record. It is now recording down here. So I'm going to first of all change this, okay, make it a little bit easier. I'm going to duplicate that, drag it down. I'm going to change that to background. I'm going to change that. I'm going to render clouds. See, I can't see anything. Ah, there we go. So I turn off so I can see underneath. I'm now going to go to blur, Gaussian blur. We'll crank it right up to 120. See there. Okay, so that's underneath. All right, now I'm gonna duplicate by using Command J a couple of times to get a few copies here. We'll just turn those off so I can see what it is that I'm doing. Okay, this first one, I'm going to call it underpainting. Okay. Turn off the original. So I'm going to go up to the filter gallery, artistic, underpainting. So as you can see, it is applying that. We'll move things out here a little bit, make it a little bit easier to see how that looks. So let's say I'm happy with that. I'm good. Okay, whoops. Okay, so there we are. Excellent. All right. Now I'm going to do the next layer. I'm going to, for that underpainting, I'm going to change that to multiply. I'm going to drop it down in opacity to about 60%. Okay, turn that back on. Okay, then I'm going to do this one as my glow edge. So I'll rename that glow edge. Go to filter gallery. We're going to go to stylize. We're going to go to glowing edges. And we'll drop that down so we can see. Yeah, I'm pretty good with that. Okay. Now, I'm going to invert the glowing edges by doing Command I. And then I'm going to go to Image, Adjustments. I could put one of the newer adjustment layers, but for this particular one, I'm just going to do a destructive saturation. Get rid of the colors. Okay, that's excellent. All right, so I'm going to have that as an overlay. And I'm going to drop the opacity down just a little bit to about 70% or so. Okay, excellent. And last but not least, okay, going to change this one to a watercolor effect. So I'm going to go to filter gallery, artistic watercolor, and we'll drop that down time so that we can see how that looks. And there's our watercolor. Pretty good. Okay, I'll just say that that's okay. I'm not going to worry myself too much about it. I'm going to change that to soft light and drop the opacity down to about 60, a little bit less, 52, I think. 53, okay, pretty close. Okay, so I'm happy with that. I think that looks pretty good. Okay, I can now stop my recording. So, as you can see here in my actions, I have quite a few things. I've got this, which is the overall title, and as you can see all the things that we did. Move the current layer, set the current layer, change a Gaussian blur, da 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 da. So, now, I'm going to open up these two pictures here in Photoshop, and this is where open images, and here's where the magic of actions comes into play. So doing all of that took a little bit of time. So now we are going to, okay, so we'll make those a little bit larger so we can see the effect. So for this particular picture, I'm going to click on Painting with Glow Edge Outline, and I'm going to click Play. And then all of a sudden, you're going to see a whole bunch of things start happening. As you can see, we have the filter gallery starting to come up. It's going to have this layer and that layer. Now, of course, this thing is furiously applying all of these things where we had lots of time for it to think about it. So we don't really see the results of all of this at the moment. Okay, but when it is done, it's going to look absolutely amazing. Now, the best thing, of course, about this is that having made your, see, voila, okay, so that looks amazing, and you can do it again. You can apply it again. Painting with Glow Edge Outline, play. And so this will take a little bit of time to do, but as you can see, this saves you so much time. Having set up the one picture the way you want it to be, if you can either take a note of that and then record your actions on the next picture, or really know what you want to do in advance, plan it out, and then click record as you change that first picture, it allows you to then apply the action to all other pictures and save you a ton of time. So, still thinking about it, another filter gallery, applying, applying, applying. Applying the watercolor, and voila. So, as you can see, I've got 3 pictures that have a very similar look. I saved myself a lot of time by using the actions. Try it out. Try different things. Doesn't have to be filters. Can be a whole bunch. It can be cropping. Can be just about anything you really want to do to a picture. Okay, provided that they're all similar enough that you want a particular look for all of them. Have a good time.